Welcome back to the podcast. You're welcome for just having me and Moran on the podcast today. We thought it would be a good time to just break it down, the two of us. So happy middle of the week. Happy morning. Let's get into it. Moran, what's been on your mind? What have you been up to?
Yeah, just been working, sleeping, gymming. Just got a new gym membership at a place called DMV Iron. It is a phenomenal gym. Oh my gosh. You walk in there and it's like a
Not
literal
sponsored.
jungle gym. You look at machines that you didn't think exist. Yeah, not sponsored at all. Absolutely not. But I'm just going in there and I'm looking at machines I've never seen before. And I'm like, dude, what does this do? And I go in there and do it and I'm sore for like 3 days. So
They have like the
awesome to get in a new
machines
environment.
that just are like so precise, right? It's just like, I don't even know how to describe it. It just like hits muscles
It'll
that you didn't even.
Exactly that you had no idea, were there, whether it's like they have this like a shoulder machine or you stand and it's like it has like an incline, like a pyramid push, and it literally feels like your deltoids are gonna explode off your shoulder, which is a good feeling. Yeah, gym's been great, the work's been awesome. The stock market, on the other hand, hasn't, which has actually attracted a lot more clients in my direction because we help people build wealth without the losses. I was speaking about this in a Bible study recently. We were going through the book of Matthew or we're going through the book of Luke, but we reverted to a verse in Matthew. It's Matthew 6:24. It says, "No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will be loyal to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money." So why do we bring that up? It was because we were giving anecdotal stories about people we know, or even ourselves at times, that when the money was in the dumps for us, it was like the worst thing in the world. And I've had conversations with people who are like, "I'm not going to look at my 401k. I'm not going to look at it because it's going to make me go crazy, etc." And it's like, man, it's crazy how just the stock market's ebbs and flows can ruin someone's day, ruin someone's week, ruin
Mhm.
someone's year. What would you have to say about people who are relying on money for their peace and happiness?
Yeah, it's crazy because you can actually see the volatility of people's emotions when their money's up or if it's down. People can be so controlled. I think that it's so hard living this entrepreneurial lifestyle, pursuing business and success, and having a dear relationship with God. It's something that it takes time to learn. And as of right now, it's like I'm so hungry to succeed. I'm so hungry to perform. I'm so hungry to provide. And I know that we're actually called to do all of those things, but it's not letting that rule your life. It's such a hard balance. And sometimes I'm just like, just need to break out into worship. It's like, run to the Father, fall. Just go take a shower and throw some
For
worship
real?
music on because otherwise I just don't know what to do. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I
a
mean, the
perfect.
market is crazy. And that's one thing that I am having difficulty processing is, do I slam all of my paycheck into XRP? And it's like, no, but actually it's, what's the best strategy during the market crash? What is the best strategy to investing? Is it you invest the same amount periodically, like $100 every week, so that it's consistent and you don't have to worry about the fluctuations? Or do you try to time the dip and absolutely slam it?
Well, that's actually a good question. Financial gurus, whether it's like Warren Buffett or O'Leary, again, I'm not directly quoting them, but they always want you to have cash in recessions and market dips, right? You want to have liquidity in order to go and buy assets when they are cheaper, right? Whether it's real estate, whether it's stocks, whether it's crypto, just naturally, I'm sure if you've ever opened up your portfolio in the past 2 weeks, it's tanking. It's in the red, right? What does that mean? Cheaper for you to buy. But people and Americans have this tendency is, oh my gosh, it's market's crashing. I need to sell everything I have. Now, of course, it's again, it's anecdotal. It's specific to people's situations. Someone's got millions of dollars in there and they're about to retire. Maybe they don't want to take a 20, 30% hit to their finances, right? But someone who's young in their 20s, 30s, and 50s who's experiencing a market crash right now, it's like, okay, the market will come back up eventually, but in this time where it's down, buy more. right? Now, again, that buy more can be very, it's like, do I put my whole paycheck or do I do dollar cost average, which is where I slowly increment it? I mean, you're really never going to know how long a market dip will be. I mean, the dot-com bubble burst was like a 2 to 3 year kind of crash. And then again, we had in COVID, the market crashed for a year, came back up. So
What
it
was
really
that
is dependent on
dollar
what your
cost average? What is that?
dollar cost average is, instead of, like you said, slamming XRP or taking a massive amount of money and just putting it in once. Dollar cost averaging is an example, like you said, is splitting it up into smaller increments, like $100 a week or $50 a week,
Mm,
or a certain percentage of your paycheck. So it's a more safe investment versus, again, you investing in the lithium and just watching it tank.
I mean, it's so much fun though.
I know.
It's
I gone.
it's just like slamming something and then just watching it all just go to nothing, and you're like, "Whoa, that was the best investment I've ever done." It's just like such a fulfilling thing to do. I highly recommend it to anyone that is just getting into investing. Just slam just something that you know nothing about and just watch it go to absolutely zero.
We gotta
We're
start putting
not
disclaimers in
we're
the
not
episodes.
financial professionals. I mean, Moran is a financial professional, but I am not. Don't listen to me.
Yeah, it's a funny game, but hey, getting in, especially when you're younger, getting in and just getting experience in the market, you'll learn. Like me, my first experience ever in the market was in 2020 during COVID with Dogecoin. I was with my roommate at a time, and this was when like GameStop had skyrocketed
Yeah.
and Doge was following, and of course I didn't hit the train immediately like a lot of people did and made millions, but I think I threw like $80 into it or whatnot, and over the course of like, I don't know, 3 to 4 hours, it was at like 350, 400, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is the entire semester's worth of beer. And now my
Such
roommate, I think
important things you were
eventually,
thinking about.
it's crazy. That's like all I was thinking about. And my roommate, I believe, sold, whether it was a day or a couple days later, and jumped out with profit. I'm like, "Nah, I'm riding it to the moon." And of course, I rode it to the freaking depths of hell, and it crashed so bad. And again, it was $80, but I ended up losing all of my $80. And I was like, "Man, wow." So that's what it means to invest in the market or cryptocurrency or stock. Like that's an example. But what did that teach me? That taught me, okay, it's not guaranteed, right? I'd say the stock
Mhm.
market is like professional gambling, and so I
Especially
can't get mad.
especially crypto. I mean, crypto, you have to be completely willing to lose it all, especially if you don't know what you're doing. If you're like me and you don't really have any um, hardcore facts why you're investing into something, you're just totally listening to people online. You got to be totally okay with losing that entire sum. And that's what I've been really taking to heart during the investments that I've been doing. But other than that, it's so important to keep saving up. And for myself, it's having a good amount of money ready for a down payment, whether it comes to real estate. I know we've talked in private conversations about a couple properties that I'm looking at. One's a 6 unit, and then one's a duplex, and then one's actually a new one just came out, got listed on the MLS yesterday night, also known as last night. And I tried calling them. The real estate office was closed and everything. And then actually, the person just tried calling me, but I was like, nope, I got to record a podcast. Sorry. Maybe it'd be cool to call him back, do like a phone call
Live
on the
call,
podcast. Yeah. Just absolutely roasted on live on the podcast.
botch the sale live on the podcast. Hey, man,
Totally.
you
You live and you
learn
learn.
lessons, dude. I cannot remember his name. I'll find it next time. There's this guy on Instagram who does that. Well, he'll be calling owners of homes and giving them offers, and he closes a lot. And you can just see that, oh my gosh, he's probably made hundreds of thousands of phone calls in order to get to that level of expertise that he just
Mhm.
used to close with. And it goes with anything, whether it's you acquiring assets, me acquiring assets, me sitting down with clients in the insurance and retirement game. If anyone in any kind of sales or entrepreneurship role, it's going to take reps. It's those reps that is what it takes. And someone actually told me last night, they're like, man, like you have this, you have the charisma, you have the scripts in your mind, the whole nine. And I was driving home and I was like, dude, I still am not where I need to be. Like, even though I got
Nowhere near.
a sentence of like praise, I'm like, I've only been in the entrepreneurship game for like a year and a half. I'm
Mhm.
still a rookie. Have I grown from when I first started? Absolutely. But if I act like that's the end all be all, I'm gonna flop out and crash. I still need to continue to grow, continue to get no's, continue to get rejection, and
Mhm.
that's gonna build that muscle to the point where, okay, my norm is now partnering with people in regards to whether it's finance, whether it's other business opportunities, or like we were talking about, real estate.
Yeah. And I think that that connotation about failing a lot is such an important dynamic that not a lot of people really accept. I was actually talking to an executive at iHeart yesterday, and she specifically brought up the matter of she was in the industry for a while, and it took failing over and over and over and over again. And it was she was a certain amount of no's until she got that yes. And then that one yes gives you confidence, it gets the ball rolling. And then with that confidence, it's like that paradox of when you have a girlfriend, all the girls are like flocking to you, and when you don't have a girlfriend, you're just you can't even attract a dog to you. I mean, my dog doesn't even like me right now. It's crazy, dude. She's like, get away from me. It's it's absurd, but it's true. It's you got once you get that first yes, it's just like you have that confidence, you kind of have the swagger, and you just go into every deal like, all right, I'm gonna do this, and then you still are gonna get a ton of no's. But if you just drastically increase your input is only going to increase, and you're going to learn from your mistakes, and you're going to improve to the point of getting that yes. And a unique way to put it is, imagine if you were 26 no's from making 26 no's away from making your first $1,000,000. How happy would you be to get that first no? How quick would you go out and get that second no? It's like you would just immediately know. And that's, of course, goes back to God's plan. He shows you a high level of what he's got planned for your life and like what the end goal is and what he's going to use you as. You know your gifts, but he's not going to show you that process because the process, if it were to be shown to you, you'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, I don't want to go through all that pain, all that suffering, all that rejection. Our human flesh doesn't want that. But as he guides us and he walks through that, he gets us to the end purpose. Moral of the story, go out and get rejected.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's why we walk by faith and not by sight. Because you walk by sight, neither of us would be doing anything within the realm of what we're doing right now. Like, we wouldn't have
Hmm.
bought a camera, bought a mic, started a podcast, wouldn't be looking at real estate opportunities, getting into entrepreneurship, etc. Because that's something that requires what? It requires a lot of faith, right? What's the more simple route? Use your college degree, go to school, get a job, right? That's stable. Right? Well, for the most part, of course, you see what's going on in the world right now, where entire companies are firing 80% of their workforce. So I say for the most part stable,
It's scary,
but
man.
it is absurd. I'm just
It,
thinking about how many families they like live a certain lifestyle that is heavily reliant on like one of the spouse's parents like income, and then that income just getting cut, and now it's like, shoot, oh my gosh, like our lifestyle is so close to our income that as soon as that income shifts lower, it all hell breaks loose. And that's why I'm a huge proponent, or a huge benefactor, I cannot think of the word right now, a huge supporter of living below your means. Because if you live below your means, in this scenario, what would you have access to? You have cash now to go buy stocks and real estate at much cheaper prices. Then what happens when the market goes back
this
up?
is just
Now the
reminding me
home you
of
just bought, go on.
this just reminding me of the rat race that Robert Kiyosaki talks about in um, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I know that you physically are incapable of finishing that book that I gave you, but guys, I gave Justin Rich Dad Poor Dad. I was in when was it? Like October. I gave it to him in October, and then he proceeds to pick up 3 other books that he's reading because he thinks that those are more beneficial. even though Rich Dad Poor Dad was the book that completely changed my life. If you get the chance, also not sponsored, but Robert Kiyosaki, we would love to have you on. We'd love to have a sponsorship. Is it just breaks down all the entrepreneurial and high level aspects to wealth, which are so important in life. And he talks about the rat race, which is you go get a job and then you pick up expenses that that job has to pay for. And therefore, you have to continue to work that job in order to pay those expenses. And if you don't have that job, those expenses don't get paid and your life is over. Life is over. And he talks about using all the extra money and focusing on debts, whether it's credit card debt, school debt, home loan, whatever. Focus on one first, the smallest one, then get that paid off, and then go into the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. Get all your debt paid off, and then use your money to make a passive income investment, whether that is stocks that's paying dividends, whether it's real estate, whether it's any passive income producing asset. And your home in and of itself that you live in is not an asset because it's not making you money. An asset is something that you are paying the debt for. No, that's completely wrong. Don't listen to what I just said. An asset is is something that someone else is paying the debt off for you, while a liability is something that you are paying the debt off for. So let's say you have a car that you are renting, but you also drive for work. That car is an asset because it's income producing. A house that you are just living in, that's your primary home, that you are just paying the mortgage off, that is not an asset. That is a liability 100% because it's not making you any money. Yes, sure, you're storing your money in this house, but it's not making you any money. So let's say I go out and buy a rental property. It is not only building my wealth by paying down the mortgage and building equity in that house, but my tenants are going to be paying that. And then I'm also getting a cash flow on top of it. So not only am I building equity, but I'm also getting cash to spend therefore afterwards. That's the key to get out of the rat race. You just slowly build up your passive income. And then once your expenses are all covered by passive income, so you don't have to work any day in your life, that is when you can really be free to go and pursue any endeavors that you want. So that's the place that me and Justin are really trying to get to right now. I mean, we don't have any expenses. It's pretty sweet. We're both living at home as we just graduated and using this as an opportunity to build passive income and really build that blanket of passive income so that any expense that we pick up fall into that blanket. And therefore, we always have our need number hit and we have freedom to go pursue whichever entrepreneurial endeavors we want, which we're doing some pretty cool ones right now. I know that we had James on the first podcast. JC's Legends, such an awesome thing that we're doing. That's honestly I overlook. I'm so quick to be impatient and be like, oh, like it's gonna take forever, blah blah blah. But no, it's coming to fruition. JC's Legends is our nonprofit for suicide prevention, and we're doing it through visceral experiences on motorcycles, cars, boats, planes. Who names it? Things that we love. I think that's such an important thing to talk about is I know we talked about this on our team meeting the other day, but people don't experience like hardcore in-person stress anymore. I am such a big fan of driving a car super fast and having that stress anxiety, flying down a mountain on a snowboard and feeling that stress and anxiety. It's like if I don't perform, then I'm going to get seriously injured. That is
Oh my gosh.
that's the type
That
of
is
stress that I love. Like rock climbing. You have to perform or you're dead.
Oh my gosh. What, like Free Solo, the movie? Alex, I can't remember his last name. Like free soloing.
I don't know if I do that though. That's a little far.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. But no, exactly to your point, Graz, when I went on my first ski trip to Canada in high school, I had zero experience but I was so excited to just ski. Most people went kinda just to party, just go to clubs in Quebec. I'm like, "Dude, no, I'm going on a freaking Canadian mountain where I can't see the top of it because it's in the clouds. I'm going to bomb this master hill regardless if I end up upside down in a bush." And I went down the bunny slopes and was just eating it. Like, I probably fell like 5 times on one little bunny slope, and it's crazy. The green slopes there are probably the blacks in, like, Maryland and Pennsylvania or whatnot, and I went down once, probably fell 4 or 5 times, and then I went down again, took, like, 20 minutes to get down the mountain, and at the very end, it is such a steep just bombing at the end of the hill, and I'm like, "If I move my feet 1 centimeter, I am going to take out a 4-year-old French girl, like, I gotta focus here," but like you said, that stress of
You just get
me
charged with
just, alright, well,
manslaughter. No, but seriously, it can happen. I mean, you can definitely be just a liability, and it's possible. My mom has gotten absolutely just like laid out by someone before, like going back and why are you laughing at that, dude? That's not cool.
'Cause I've seen her live and tell the tale, so
Yeah, and then
hilarious.
she was like going, taking her hard turns back and forth, taking it nice and slow, and the snowboarder just comes flying out of nowhere, just like completely just Ray Lewis through the back of her, just like not like she's looking down the mountain, just yeah. And then of course that was not a fun tale. That ski day did not end well. It happens with like celebrities and people sue the celebrities. There was one story. Is it Paris Hilton? It was someone like that. In that maybe we'll just go with Paris Hilton. She was the person that got hit, and the person that hit her sued her. Imagine that being your life, where you have to be so careful in the actions that you do because everyone's trying to sue you for your money and your fame. That's why we're trying to build wealth without fame. I
Mm.
want to be living off the grid and do fun things, but I don't want everyone up in my face just like knowing what I'm doing all the time.
It's an interesting thing when you have someone with an absorbent amount of money and who you'd say is like an A-list celebrity, like someone like Paris Hilton or
Mhm.
whatnot, where they are simply known for their money and their fame and success. Now, as a Christian, if you are to be known, if God is going to increase your platform, it's not a promise. It's not something that He promises in Scripture. It's not needed. We don't. Our names don't need to be known to go out and build His kingdom. All we want is for His name to be known through us. But if you do have both, you have a kingdom builder, man or woman of God, with that money, it's a lot different. You're not gonna attract as many of those people who would go and sue Paris Hilton for for them taking her out on a ski, mountain. It would be, "Oh, this guy talks about God. I'm not interested in his money." And honestly, it's like it's kind of a win-win in our scenario because it's like, "Hey, we're using our resources for building the kingdom. We're not we're not using our resources to just add fame or status to our name." And what it's going to do, it's going to draw the right people in. Now, it's a very niche like goal I have, but if you think about all of the like the top 1% of the world, right? Just like mega billionaires, people who just got their net worths are through the roofs. The majority of them, I'd say, are not believers, right? They're typically led by themselves. They have their own moral code, their own moral compass, and they're living for themselves, right? And a
It's
lot of them
harder
behind
for a
closed
rich
doors.
man to enter heaven than it is for a camel to go through the eye of a needle.
Yeah, yeah, and that's
Just
saying, like,
just
when
true.
someone builds or amasses extreme wealth, quote, unquote, "on their own" without knowing the Lord, it builds this pride and this ego to saying, "Why do I need to surrender to the creator of the universe when I built all this myself?" Right? And I want us to be in those rooms with those individuals and be able to present them the gospel of Jesus by what the Lord has helped us build. So again, who you can
Mhm.
say who runs the world? The people with money, right? Money talks. And so if we get into those rooms with people making those massive decisions, but we're influencing them with the gospel, regardless if they want to hear it or not, they're going to hear it and it will plant a seed, right? And who would God want more power to? Someone who is evil or someone who's living for him? Obviously, the latter. And so that's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of patience. and it's going to take the most importantly the blessing from God to allow that at the right time. So when that time comes, you're in a room with Elon Musk talking about how Jesus Christ is Lord, and then boom, down the line, just imagine if Elon Musk gave his life to Christ. Now, again, listeners on here don't know if you're a fan of him or not. As believers, we're called to love everybody, and we want to see everybody know the Lord. And just like imagining someone with like the brain and the access and the resources of Musk, and fully transitioning that to God, I'm yours, use me. Imagine what could be done in the world with a decision like that. And so that's what JC's Legends, this entrepreneurship endeavor, we're doing this to influence the world like that. Because again, we know, for what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world, yet loses his own soul, right? There's no point to money if you're just doing it for no reason. We're doing these for eternal purposes that are going to go and help make heaven crowded, so that when we finally pass on, we're having a great party in paradise for the end of time. But if we just do it for ourselves, there's a finish line, and that finish line ends when we die here, and then you're going to be separated from God for eternity, and you're gonna be like, man, I focused so heavily on the money. Why didn't I never build a relationship with God, which is the only thing or person in this life that will
When you just mentioned like a giant party in eternal paradise, just totally brought me back to Forrest Frank on Friday night.
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
For those of you who don't
That was
follow our
so fun.
socials, Justin and I made a trip out to Reading, Pennsylvania to go see Forrest Frank live. Well, first of all, Reading, Pennsylvania, sketchy, dude. Reading, Pennsylvania is sketchy. I did not know what I was walking into, but it felt like inner city Baltimore combined with like Amish country. It was weird. Not to mention, I also drove into a sinkhole on the way there. Like the roads are decrepit and deteriorating. And I literally was driving and a sinkhole just like fell and my front left of my car just like went into this hole. Crazy side story. And then Forrest Frank had some bangers. What a concert that was.
I told you there's this podcaster named Ruslan. He's at like 500,000 on YouTube. He's a huge. He loves music. He's seen secular artists like Kanye and Jay-Z and just all the best name artists in every industry, secular and Christian. And he said he went to a Forrest Frank concert. He's like, this is the best concert I've ever seen. And so we're going in with that mentality, like, oh my gosh, it's got some high expectations to see what it does. And it just blew it away. Just totally hit the nail on the head
His
with
crowd
how he
engagement was
performed.
so great. Such a good uh just artist to engage with the crowd. He's so personable and was like just like having conversations with people in the crowd, bringing people up on stage. Of course, we were in Pennsylvania, so the guy he brought up on stage was an Eagles fan. So that was just like,
We just walked out.
yeah, just left. Then after the concert, Justin and I fully lifted a Honda Civic over a curb. That was pretty cool.
That was awesome.
All of our days in the gym were finally worth it.
No, I like had a slight thought in my mind that I was gonna like herniate a disc doing that in front of like 15 people. Like, you're in the gym, bro, for what? But praise God, he helped us throw that car over the curb. But going back on the way, I was on the way to Reading, Pennsylvania. I had no idea about it. I knew it was past Amish country that we were going to drive through Lancaster. And I have a client who she actually flips real estate in Pennsylvania with her husband. So I shot her a call to catch up with her and said, "Hey, I'm on the way to your hometown." And she's like, "Oh, what part of Pennsylvania are you going to?" I'm going. I said, "Reading, Pennsylvania." And she's in the car with her daughter, and they're both like, "Ew." And I'm like, "What? What do you mean? Why would Forrest Frank do a concert there?" And of course, get there and we see why. It was so funny. Graz was coming to park across from me. We were about to go into some like chicken joint, and he's pulling up. I'm just recording him because I haven't seen him in a minute. And I'm like, "Oh, dude, dang, what happened? Was that always there?" And he's like, "What?" And he hadn't seen the front left
He
of
was
his
like, "Dude,
bumper.
did you crash?" And I was like, "No, what are you talking about?" And we were on the phone when I drove
Oh my god.
into the sinkhole, and I was like, "No, it's from the sinkhole." And yeah, my bumper was messed up, but we popped it back into place. We're all right.
Oh, the back end. Yes, sir. Yeah, little bump burrs never hurt nobody.
And then after the concert, we went to this place called Maria's. It was this weird liquor store times pizza place times bar. It was like a interesting culmination of people and events. And we were definitely, how do you put this nicely? Targets. Target
We were
minorities.
minorities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And then after we were basically done eating, this kind gentleman comes over to us and just starts speaking in Spanish. And Justin knows a little Spanish. I know quite literally zero Spanish, even though I took it 4 years in high school. I don't know how my teachers obviously failed me. This guy comes over to us and is trying to tell us where he lives for some reason. So then he pulls out his wallet, takes out his license and another card and gives him to Justin. And Justin's reading and he's like, "Oh, that's your address. Nice." And I'm like trying to signal to Justin with my eyes that something is not right. The other card is a license to concealed carry. And Justin's just not saying it. He's like still chopping with this guy in Spanish. And I'm like, and I totally thought this guy was gonna kill us. In the middle of Reading, Pennsylvania.
The energy he was giving off was so like personable and joyous. And then after when he told me was showing us a concealed carry gun, I was like, wait, he was saying he kept pointing like away from the restaurant and going seguridad, seguridad, which I'm like, why is he saying security? Like is he doing? And so I still don't exactly know, but I have like two theories that he was either saying, hey, you're a target here, come down the street where I got you with my security. I'm concealed carry. I can be you guys' security. Which is one thing that was on the positive end. Or of
He had
course
to
it
be
could have
like
been horrible and
five
something
foot
else happened.
three. Who's
I
hiring
know
as
he's very,
security?
very,
He
very
was
tall guy.
tiny. He was like,
He was a yeah,
he just like pulls
but
out
he was
just
yeah, pulls out an M5. But no, actually, it was funny.
out of his back pocket.
Very, very nice guy. Gave us hugs after and whatnot. It's very confusing. But it was still I found it a decently cool encounter. The pizza there was incredible. I wish I brought a whole box home. That I got some bacon pizza crust, got some pepperoni. It was like, see, the one really good thing about Reading, Pennsylvania is it's like living back in like 2007. They haven't even received or gotten hit with the 2008 housing market crash yet. So like everything there is like so cheap. You get a burger for $3. You get like massive slice of pizza for $3. I'm like, you know what? All right, I can see why people like it over here. But yeah, definitely a interesting experience. And yeah, then we went on our
Yeah.
way back home.
Yeah, and then we went on our way back home, and Justin had the longer drive. But the second I got onto the highway, it was a dead stop. And I was like, oh, like, I wonder what's happening. It was like midnight, and I was like, oh, it'll probably move in a little bit. And it just didn't. I was stuck in traffic for 2.5 hours, complete standstill. And I was stuck next to this Honda Civic that was obviously a manual and didn't want to stall. So it was every other second he was revving his engine. It was vroom, vroom, vroom. I was going insane. Like, I don't know how to put it in simpler terms. I wanted to smash my head against my windshield so badly. And 2.5 hours later, we finally start to inch forward. And it turns out an 18 wheeler was just like totally flipped and facing the wrong way on our side of the highway. So I'm not sure what happened, if it was a crash or if they just came across the highway. But as soon as I saw that, I was like, all right, I need to break out into prayer and worship for them. I need to make sure that they're okay. So obviously, prayers, condolences go out to whoever was a part of that accident. I pray that they're okay. But it was a pain, and that Honda Civic uh, is giving me PTSD, to say the least.
He's just falling
um,
asleep at night.
yeah. For 2.5 hours. I feel bad for that guy too, because he just had to consistently just let it stall, honestly, or just like turn the car off or
It's like, dude,
something.
he's not.
Yeah,
Uh,
just get an automatic, dude. Um,
I think that's a good place to wrap
Place to
up
pause. About
with how we're
40
able.
minutes has gone by. I feel like we just started.
Yeah, our schedules are so different on a week to week basis. We have to be really strategic about when we do these. Had a little 45-minute window. It's like, all right, let's rip it. So glad we were able to get
Yeah,
some.
Moran's just totally not free any night. Mondays, we have our team meeting for JC's Legends. Tuesday is Bible study. Wednesday is work meetings. Then Thursday is Bible study. Friday, he's off doing side quests in like South Dakota. Then Saturday, he's at his work event, and then Sunday he has church, and then goes hangs out with Gabre, his wonderful girlfriend, in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, where is this guy? And he's on like the Mississippi River in West Virginia or something like that. I don't know. This guy's location is all over the place.
Uh, yeah, she lives in Kansas. No, I'm
Yep,
kidding. She lives in West Virginia.
she's Dorothy.
Dorothy. But yeah, well, glad you guys gave it a listen. Hopefully, we brought you guys some wisdom and some laughs. Like to get a good mix of that. But yeah, pay attention to the
Absolutely.
stock market. Make sure you got some cash to go and buy low. Pray, read your Bible, get in
In the
community.
word.
Yes, sir.
And follow our socials. Due diligence on Instagram. Not yet on TikTok. We should probably do that. And then Aidan J. Grazia on Instagram and TikTok, and Just More Jesus on Instagram and TikTok. Be on the lookout for our YouTube post tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Why would I tell you tomorrow? Because you're obvious. Never mind. Every Thursday on YouTube and Spotify. Tune in. We have a really awesome guest next week. Not going to reveal who yet, because honestly, I don't even know who it is. But we're going to figure it out. And it's someone cool because we have a really cool lineup of people that are coming on. Praise the Lord. Peace out, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Peace.
Yes, sir. God bless.